L4D2 Workshop add-ons. More specifically, custom campaigns. Whether it is an original custom campaign that fits in the game, or a map that takes place in a different world. Whether they could end up in Minecraft, FNAF, Resident Evil,
What the f-
or they could end up in the Half-Life universe. I am going to play every custom or ported Half-Life campaign to see if these maps are good, decent, or downright bad. I will also be playing them on advanced difficulty, since I played these campaigns in the past. Not on expert difficulty, cause I'm still quite bad at the game. Please note that all of the custom campaigns I will be covering are based on my opinion. There are some custom campaigns that I personally dislike due to a lack of supplies in certain parts of the map, an unclear sense of direction for progression, or just the gameplay itself. With that said, let us begin at the top of the list, starting with we are kicking things off at Black Mesa. Even though it's a fan-made reimagining of the original, I'll let this one get a bonus, since it's still technically a Half-Life custom port of the map. During my first experience with this map, I encountered several issues while playing the campaign. These include, the bots are being idiots, a few missing textures throughout the campaign, and, for some unknown reason, I get a lot of crashes every time I go to Chapter 3. Luckily, this time around, I didn't crash on that specific chapter, so I am good.
Hey, sorry.
The first chapter has no ammo piles in sight, not even a single ammo pile is anywhere to be seen. You only have 2 first-tier weapons at the start of the chapter, so you better save up enough ammo and take a crowbar at the beginning with you for the crescendo event. Otherwise, you will get beaten by the commons and special infecteds. Fortunately, I found a grenade launcher twice during the crescendo event, which made it easier for me and the bots to get past the safe room. Just be careful on this section of the map, as there is a chance for a witch or tank will be spawned during the crescendo event. The rest of the chapters are fine, except for Chapter 4 and almost at the end of Chapter 3. If you find a witch at the stairs, you can't simply kill her while the horde is still on fire. If you encounter a tank, however, just shoot the explosive barrels and try not to get trapped by the horde. Speaking of explosive barrels, there are quite a few scattered around the campaign. It's easy for you just to pass them or shoot them as many as possible before the bots do. Now, let us move on to Chapter 4.
Bullshit.
Chapter 4 is easy to beat, if you have the bot add-on, that is. If you don't have the add-on turned on, this chapter can be pretty tough on harder difficulties, cause it's a scavenging one. Not only do you have to pick up all the gas cans by yourself, but the bots, again, sucks at this chapter. So, it's best for you to have this add-on or a friend with you, if you want to beat this chapter. Lastly, the finale was the easiest chapter in the entire campaign. Most of the horde spawned at the far end corners of the map, allowing me to shoot them from a distance. Even the tanks were manageable to deal with. Once you've gone through 2 waves of the horde, you now finished the campaign. I should mention this here, because I'm unsure where to place it in the video. All doors are indestructible. You can use these metal doors by shooting through the horde behind these doors or throwing a Molotov if there is a tank behind a metal door. And this also applies to the rest of the custom campaigns later on. Overall, it is a somewhat decent campaign. If you replaying this on solo, without the bot add-on, this will be a nightmare for you, as navigation for bots is annoyingly difficult. I recommend bringing a friend or subscribing to the add-on to make this campaign easier. My other complaint is that the first chapter really needs ammo piles throughout the map, as I ran out of ammo. If there is a tank that spawns at the beginning or at the end of the chapter. My rating for this campaign is 4.5 out of 10. These next custom campaigns are now mostly the original port of Half-Life and the sequel, and this next campaign takes place, you guessed it, in Black Mesa, again.
I'm back in the fucking building again!
But the original map this time, where the survivors take place, I presumed, is around Chapter 7 to Chapter 12 at the dam section, again.
Oh, come on!
At least this map shouldn't be that bad, right? Playing this map in solo was a mixed bag for me. For one, besides the box being dummies, the first chapter is terrible. How bad, you may ask? Well, the first half of the chapter seems fine at first, that is, until you find explosive barrels, and with explosive crates. These explosives are more dangerous than the previous explosive barrels and crates, so be very careful with those explosives, as the radius is much larger, even if you are far away from them.
Reloading!
Continuing through the chapter, you'll come across a generator to open up the power, and upon opening the power, you'll now be heading back to the track control. You can either use the elevators to go back much quicker or take the longer route back to the track control room. Obviously, you chose the elevator for a quicker option, and for some stupid reason, the box decided to go in a different direction, because they saw a gun on the ground, falling to their death as a result. I would suggest that you either stay and kill the horde first before heading back, and finally, I would like to point out the rails at the end of the chapter. I wish the map creators would remove the electric rails for the box, as they take damage upon contact with the rails. Keep a bile jar with you in the last section for horde and make your way to the safe room as soon as possible. On the bright side, if you don't have a medkit or you and your team are at low health, you can find and use these handy healing stations with an additional medkit to regenerate your health back.
Mine!
Including the box, too. The best part about them is that you can use them infinitely. Even when you have temporary health, they can still heal you.
Yep.
The healing stations saved most of my medkits and box too, so they won't be healing in the worst situations. Now that the first chapter is done, let's continue with the rest of the chapters. I don't have much to say in chapter 2.
What the fuck was that?
Besides that one swimming section, where you and Box can drown, and I fumbled in the elevator, twice.
No, Ellis.
But I do have something to say about the next chapter. Questionable Ethics is an interesting chapter. Upon exiting the safe room and destroying the electric fence, you come across a tank inside a containment tube, a neat touch for the alien grunt in the original. After you kill the tank and enter the Advanced Biological Research Lab, your goal is to destroy all 14 mainframes around the research lab.
Huh?
While destroying the mainframes, try to be careful with the two tanks, as there is little space for you to take cover in, or just shoot the mainframes outside of the room, as I did, and the tanks will die on their own. Upon heading to the laser lab and activating all the lasers. We're now at the finale, and it has fewer issues than the first chapter. Firstly, special infected can't spawn during a two-wave of tanks, which is even more annoying enough to deal with. And secondly, there are two rescue vehicles, giving you a 50-50 chance of escaping on one of the vehicles. I personally preferred the helicopter rescue, because it's much closer and quicker to escape. If the game decides to choose the boat, be lucky enough to escape the boat, as there is a tank spawn at the entrance of the hydro plant dam, with the additional horde blocking you from escaping. After that, you finally escape from Black Mesa. Again. As I said at the beginning of this map, I had a mixed experience in this campaign alone, especially when I played it for the first time without the bot add-on. Without it, this will take me around an hour or so to complete, due to the numerous encounter problems in the campaign. I'll give them credit for adding Half-Life soundtracks in the finale though.
The fuck?
I did play this campaign with my brother and my cousin in the past. We managed to complete almost an hour of gameplay, despite the struggles and retries during the final chapter cause of the special infected spawns during two tanks fight. Overall, I would give this campaign a score of 6 out of 10. Cause of the healing stations. We Don't Go To Ravenholm is the most popular custom campaign on the list.
Whoa!
And if you already played the sequel, Half-Life 2, you know the chapter consists mostly of zombies. Hence, the port of the campaign. I do admit, it does fit for a Left 4 Dead custom map. I honestly can't say much about the campaign as it's pretty much a straightforward map. I just got it lucky on the first chapter. Luckily, there are no traps in sight, and most of the chapters have been improved to make it a lot easier to navigate throughout each chapter. There are quite a lot of supplies around the map, so you don't have to go back to grab something that you don't have. I may be one of those players. My only 3 complaints all I have about the campaign are the tight spaces in a few areas in the campaign. If you end up in the tight alleyway, there's a chance you might get charged by a charger or, worse, a witch blocking your way. Rooftops in Chapter 2 are risky to get across, because there is a chance you might stumble across a tank at one of the rooftops, as there is no place to take cover other than the small rooms. If you're not careful enough, you'll end up falling to your death. And lastly, in Chapter 3, right after you exit the old mines, is a gauntlet crescendo event, which means you have to make your way through the railroad to the safe house, while killing commons in your way there. If you still haven't had the add-on, this part of the chapter is tough on harder difficulties. I tried it without the bot add-on, and the bots couldn't hold the number of zombies during the gauntlet crescendo event. The default bots are often unreliable due to the many zombies swarming around me and the bots, in addition to the specials that slow down the progression to the safe house. It is possible to beat it on advanced difficulty, you just have to be good at what you're doing. As for the finale, it was alright. I have nothing else to say about it other than being a good holdout, except for one thing. Just watch out for the cars while firing at the tanks. Considering it is one of the popular custom campaigns, this campaign is an overall good map.
Nice.
It's a straightforward map with plenty of supplies throughout the entire campaign. Despite a few flaws when playing solo, I still enjoy it. I'll give this a solid 7.5 out of 10.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
A walking simulator is how they describe this tedious campaign. Even the map creator knew it was long, but that doesn't mean it's a good map. As soon as you start the first chapter, you encounter a vast, deserted area full of zombies. It's easy, sure, the whole campaign is very open, for you to fire at commons and specials from afar. But it gets pretty boring real quick when it's basically a long highway to the bridge finale. There are barely any memorable moments in the campaign, with the exceptions of Chapter 1 and the finale being decent chapters. You can find abandoned places with fewer supplies and guns in the areas of the chapters. But other than that, the rest are just nothing but barren wastelands and highways. Now speaking of highways, there are so many wrecked vehicles for the tanks to toss at the survivors. And if you get unlucky in the middle of the chapter, you have to retry the long chapter again. I had to step back from the vehicles to avoid getting incapacitated by one of them. Another complaint I had with this campaign was that it lacked ammo piles. At least the map creator was kind enough to place supplies in small buildings, but no ammo piles? Right. The map creator could at least put some ammo piles in a few buildings or areas to replenish ammo. I had to use explosive or incendiary bullets for extra ammo due to the scarcity of ammo piles in most chapters. Moving on to the finale chapter, it's undoubtedly easy to beat, although you could cheat the whole chapter by staying inside this abandoned building, by using these mental doors as a shield for yourself. This campaign is not to my liking and is one of my least favorite custom maps on the list. Half of the players enjoyed the campaign for its size and simplicity, while the other half, including me, did not find the map appealing. The campaign does not execute well for a Left 4 Dead 2 map. It's tedious, has nothing else to see that's interesting for the most part, and lacks ammo piles. I do understand why some players like this campaign for its challenge of a map, but this is not for my liking. This leaves a rating of 3 out of 10. I am hoping this next one shouldn't be worse. Before I review the next campaign, I will be playing the fixed version of it, because there were a few problems with the original map. The bots often stay in place every time I leave the safe room, which other players and I find annoying when playing solo. Medkits in every safe room are twice as many as the usual 4, and the box navigation was terrible the last time I played it. No hate on the same map creator, he did his best. This campaign would be fine, if not for the issues with the original map upload. Hence, we got the fixed version of Nova Prospekt. They fixed the few issues with the original port, with minor exceptions. But regardless, at least the map is playable. Now let's start with the campaign itself. The overall campaign is the polar opposite of Highway 17. The spaces in some chapters are too cramped to fire at the zombies and tanks scattered throughout the map. On the positive side, we have the walking witches at night instead of the sitting witches on the map. You may also accidentally fire at the bots due to how tight the spaces are. At least the layout of the map is more interesting than that of the Highway 17 campaign. The same situation that occurred with the previous map, which had fewer supplies, applies here as well. It would be nice detail if the cabinets have supplies in them. It's a little disappointing that there is nothing in them. At least the caches, or in this case, footlocker chests, are present in this map. Chapter 1 and the finale don't even have enough supplies or guns to fight off the zombies and spatials. This is especially noticeable in the first tank encounter at the beginning, where you only have pistols and melee weapons to defend yourself. In an unrelated note, I somehow coincidentally have 2 tanks instead of 1 scripted tank. How unfortunate. While progressing through the map, you may notice an incoming storm during every incoming attack, which makes your surroundings foggy and difficult to see where you are aiming. It's best for you just to stay in place until the storm stops, and after making it through each chapter, you'll be at the finale, and it's a letdown. I am sorry, I just don't find it enjoyable. Besides the lack of supplies I mentioned earlier, this last chapter is small for a holdout. What's worse is that, if the tank somehow spawned at the escape route and you died, you had to restart the chapter. It's a shame that it's not the teleporter. It would be a good way to finish the campaign. If I am being honest with you, this campaign could be better. Don't get me wrong, it's a decent map, if it weren't for the issues I talked about earlier. If I were the uploader of this campaign, I would change the starting chapter outside of the Nova Prospekt and add tier 1 weapons in it. Next, I'll put the scripted tank or witch in this part, and with supplies in each of the rooms before entering Nova Prospekt. Then, improve a few chapters, and you've got yourself a decent ported campaign. 4 out of 10. This couldn't have been better.
Therefore, I repeat, evacuate City 17 at once, if not sooner. I cannot state this without...
We're now heading to City 17, taking place in Episode 1. This campaign is the second most popular map on the list, and the oldest or possibly the first Half-Life ported map in the L4D2 Steam Workshop. Darn, that was a decade ago. The entire campaign is perfectly suited for a Left 4 Dead 2 map. The atmosphere of the campaign felt the same vibe as Left 4 Dead's, with a destroyed city, a crashing plane, and a hospital filled with infected. Like every zombie media, the chapters are reasonably straightforward, with some previously closed buildings now open, containing supplies. They even improved to make it stand out more as a custom map, making me replaying this campaign more with my relatives or my friend. There were rarely any challenging chapters apart from the hardest chapter in the campaign, which was in Chapter 2, a gauntlet crescendo event, in the parking lot. The bots can sometimes struggle to walk up the platform and may fall. Although the parking lot is small, it can occasionally become overcrowded due to the number of common spawns, along with scripted smoker spawns that can sabotage you and the bots, as well as the presence of a tank or a walking witch. making it quite a challenge chapter. But once you deactivate the alarm, the rest of the chapters are mostly easy to beat. Moving through the chapters till the finale, the last chapter is easy and reasonable. Big holdout.
That's quite big.
There are a lot of good spots for you to fend off the zombies and tanks. It would be an interesting take if this final chapter were a scavenging one, similar to escorting the citizens and rebels in the final chapter, in my opinion. But this similar Strider fight in this version, with the tanks, is good enough. Or they can do both, although I'm not sure if combining them works well in Left 4 Dead. This campaign is considered one of my personal favorite maps, much like the Ravenholm campaign. It's a fairly good, straightforward map with a fitting atmosphere for a Left 4 Dead 2 map. Originally, I was supposed to play the revamped version of City 17 to compare it with the original port, but since it has a lot of rework and new content added to the map, I will, at some point, make another video like this. But all you know about City 17 revamped, it has a lot of events to it. City 17 will give a rating of a solid 8.5 out of 10. So that's it for now. I was originally going to do the next part, but because my computer storage is almost full, I decided to end it here. I am sorry for using text-to-speech in this video. I really don't like using my voice that much in my videos. I hope you guys can forgive me for that. I had a lot of fun making this video, despite the slow progression of editing. I enjoyed it nevertheless. I will continue with this with the last 5 Half-Life custom maps. Until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.